On the issue of child marriage, forced marriage, recently there's been a case on a girl called Wasila who allegedly poisoned her husband, even though the age has been put at 14. I think she's much younger. And she was forced into marriage with a man twice her age, already married himself. She refused the marriage. Her father actually beat her. So she complied, she got married. And 2 weeks later, the husband was dead.
Gaskiya bai kamata a yanke mata hukunci ba, saboda ba laifinta ba ne, laifin iyayenta ne, kuma bai kamata a yanzu Wasila kamar yanzu a ce an mata wai auren dole tana shekara 12 ko 13.
Wasila yarinya ce kuma mace ce, ya kamata a duba a taimaka mata, a yi mata sassauci domin a bata ilimi da ya kamata, a shigo da ita cikin jama'a, a wayan mata da kai ta fahimci ma menene rayuwa, ballantana ta san meye kuma zama ta kewa tsakaninta da wani. Duk bata san wannan ba, kawai an ɗauke ta ne daga ƙauye an kawo ta wani gida an rufe ta, an haɗa ta da wani ƙaton mutum da bata taɓa ganin sa ba, bata san shi ba, ya zo yana mata fyaɗe. To wannan abin da bata san shi ba sai ya ɓata mata rai. Komai zai iya faruwa ga kowace ƴa mace in aka yi mata haka.
Gaskiya saboda ita Wasila shekarunta ma addinin musulunci ma bai isa yanda za a mata aure ba. Iyayenta sun takura mata ne saboda son abin duniya, saboda addini ma yanzu ba zai dora mata abin da zai takura mata batun da shekarunta bai kai ba.
In Islamic jurisprudence, marriage is not seen as a sacred contract. It's a civil contract. The analogy used by scholars when they get into any difficulties with marriage is to look at what are the Islamic teachings that relate to business. Because business is similar to marriage in that there's a contract. This person is getting married to this person with the understanding that he has the following rights and following responsibilities. Marriage requires the consent of both partners. And so the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in numerous hadith, asked his companions to seek the permission of their daughters. It's understood that a consent is necessary.
Shi auren dole addinin musulunci ya hana shi, kuma ya lalle yayi hani da ai auren dole. Akwai hadisi na Barira wacce ta zo ta kawo ashabin Annabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ya zo ya kawo ƙara gurin manzo yana son a nema masa aure na Barira. Manzo sallallahu alaihi wasallam mutum ne mai adalci, mutum ne mai hikima, ya kirawo Barira ya tambaye ta cewa ga wannan sahabi nawa yana neman ki da aure. Ta tambayi manzo sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wannan umarni kake bani ko kana tambaya ta ra'ayi ne? Idan kana bani umarni ne zan karba in karbi wannan sahabi naka a matsayin miji saboda biyayya, amma idan kana neman shawara ta, wannan sahabi ba na san shi, bai mini a matsayin da zan aure shi ba. Annabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ya juyo kalli wannan sahabi nasa ya ce ka je ka nemi matar aurenka. Barira ba matar aurenka bace ba, ba ta san ka, saboda haka aure ana gina shi ne a bisa soyayya.
Unfortunately, in the Maliki school of thought that is common within northern Nigeria, the predominant position is that a virgin, a woman who has not been married before, can be forced into marriage. The other schools of thought, the Hanafi, Shafi, and the Hanbali school of thought, consider the woman's consent as necessary. This is an area where a lot of students of Islamic law who have studied Islam elsewhere and have come back have tried to let others understand that the position of giving the woman a choice is closer to the maqasid or the objectives of Sharia. It's closer to what is in the best interest of the family, because the Qur'an mentions that part of the objective of marriage is the establishment of sakina, tranquility, muwadda and rahmah, love and compassion. And forcing somebody into marriage is out of synchrony, is out of line with the objective of love and compassion and tranquility. That the girl should have a say and a choice is actually closer, not just to the letter, but also to the spirit of Islamic law.
There are so much complaints about the rights and women in Sharia, basically because people misunderstand, misconstrue, misapply, and misapply the provisions of Sharia. They employ their cultural practices as a basis for the Sharia. For example, under Sharia, a girl must give her consent to marriage. But people misunderstand the provision relating to ijbar, power of ijbar, to say no, the father had the right to compel his child to marry a person she does not love. This is the misunderstanding.
During Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a compulsory marriage practiced by a father to his daughter. He forced her to marry somebody. She reported to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "My father married me to a person that I don't love." Prophet Muhammad said that marriage should be dissolved. She said, "Okay, Prophet, I am very happy for this honor I have. But for the respect I have for you and the respect I have for the father, I will get into marriage because you have intervened. But I want women to know that marriage is not compulsory. No one should force a daughter to marry."
Ai mu kin san ƙauye ne, in lokacin mu yayi muka data duk za a yi mana aure.
First of all, in Islam, there is no specific age that a girl must get married before that age or must reach that age before she is married. The thing is open. There is authentic hadith that a girl cannot get married until her consent is sought. Therefore, you have to seek her consent when she is mature enough to know that this is good for me, this is bad for me. I know that this is a person I love, I know that this is a person I cannot stay with.
Ina shekara 13 ga al'ada ta wannan lokaci bayan kamar shekara 50 da suka wuce na samu wanda zai aure ni. Saboda haka ba tambaya ta aka yi ba. Kawai ni dai na ga mutum kuma an ce shi ne mijina. Dan watanni kaɗan aka samu na alalle ga al'adar da ake ta Hausawa aka kai ni gidan shi. Akan rashin ba a yi wayan ba sosai. Da na soma hankali sai na ga ba na son rayuwa da shi. Saboda haka dai ƙarshe na fito na zo gida aka ga dai na shiga damuwa.
My understanding is certainly the girl has to reach sufficient physical and mental stage in her life when she can understand the implication of giving her consent to a marriage. She may reach that age as between the age of 15, 16, 17. She should be allowed to go to primary school 6 years. She should be allowed to attend at least junior secondary school 3 years. So if you put all this together, by the age 16, she should have sufficient mental capacity to understand the implication of giving consent. And I think this should be the minimum, 16 years of age.
Gaskiya auren ya samu matsala saboda ko da an kai shi da yake gani ba son mijin nake ba ni bai san shi ba. Don ban san shi ba ga lokacin babu ma hankalin fahimta in gane ko in fahimci wane ne mijin.
Islam is such a religion that assimilates with developmental concept. Whatever is developmental, Islam assimilates with it. Therefore, if it is discovered, genuinely discovered that girls has to reach certain age before they get married, and if they get married before that age, there might be a problem for them, then Islam is trying to stop whatever that is problematic.
Yarinya ai shekara 14 ko shekara 15 an aurar da ita. Ta zo babban matsalar da waɗannan yara ke samu shine za su so ba su san yadda za su iya zama da mazajensu ba, saboda ba su san yadda halayyar zama ta kasance ba. To amma duk da haka wanda za a iya a ce a matsa ma ta auri wanda ba ta so ya fi ƙarfi ga yarinya wadda ba ta da wayo ƙarama. Don in babba ce tana iya ta je mai yiwa wurin gwaggwanta ko ta je wurin kawunta ta ce ni dai ina so a yi ma baba magana, gaskiya ba ni son wani. To amma yarinya ai shekara 9 ko 10 ba ta iya wannan, ba za ta iya ta ce a'a ba ta yarda ba. Don hakan ga akwai dangantaka tsakanin forced marriage, auren dole, da kuma shekarun mace. Akwai dangantaka kaɗan, saboda na ce ya fi sauƙi a tilasta yarinya ƙarama bisa ga babban mace wadda yake ta yi girma.
So if we can see it from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu during his time to the moment, why are you forcing our children to marry? We have no reason that we should force our children to marry. And if you marry a girl of 12, 13, as if you have forced her because she don't have reason, she's not matured to reason whether she like that man or she doesn't like him. So it's like forced marriage.
From what we saw, Wasila really did not realize the magnitude and the trouble she was in, what she had done. This all shows you that she's just a child, really. She wanted out of the marriage. She couldn't fall back on her parents because the chances are they would have just sent her right back. And she took this way out.
Well, if you say that Wasila is 18, let's assume that she has gone to formal school. She did her primary school, she did her secondary school, and she might have reached that age. With her education and her developed capacity, it's enough for her to look for better alternative than killing her husband. Had it been that this girl is why she reached a level of maturity, I think this will not happen. So that is why it is very important. It is very important. We allow our girls to go to schools and at least to reach certain level before it gets married.
It is worth asking oneself, do you expect a 13-year-old girl to behave like an adult? In Islamic law, it says for orphans, it is when they reach an age of rushda, of maturity, that you should hand over to them what they have inherited from their parents. In other words, when they reach an age of discernment. When it comes to this type of poisoning, it lets us understand what a very young girl could do when she has been hurt by a marriage. How easily influenced she could be by media, by her own emotions. She's not reached an age of intellectual maturity to make major decisions. This unfortunate case should stir people to really look at more empirical evidence so that scholars can better weigh the relative harm. Is it a greater benefit or a greater harm? A total impact assessment of the situation of early marriage or child marriage